Joining us live to talk more on the situation in the FCT this Monday morning is the Force Public Relations Officer, Chief Superintendent of Police, Benjamin Hundeyin. Thank you for joining us on the Network News.
Thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Now, what's your assessment of the situation this morning, the protest and police action?
Thank you very much. If I'm allowed to assess our own performance, I would say it was a good outing. We came through for Nigerians, and we delivered on our mandates to ensure the protection of life and property and maintenance of law and order. Yeah, the protesters came out and their activities caused some traffic gridlock, but we would not allow that to persist because there were many Nigerians who wanted to go about their lawful duties, and they found it difficult to move around. So we stepped in and dispersed the protesters, and Nigerians were able to move around. So by and large, I would say that it was a very good outing.
So we'll come back to the movement, but let's quickly talk about the court order. Sure, Nigerians would want to understand why police action was taken against the protesters, considering the court order says it is lawful, but not to do it in some certain areas.
Yes, thank you very much. The courts and the police acknowledge the fact that Nigerians have the right to express themselves, to protest, to go on peaceful procession. But in this particular instance, to avoid breakdown of law and order, also learning from past experiences, we approached the court, the police approached the court to restrain and restrict the protesters from going to certain areas, which the court granted. And we also made it clear in our statement on Saturday that we're going to enforce that court order, and we want protesters not to go to the mentioned areas. I'm also warning that anybody found in these areas would actually be arrested, investigated, and prosecuted. And sadly, some of these protesters actually moved into these areas this morning, and we had no choice. Despite several warnings to them this morning, we had no choice but to get them arrested. And right now, they are in our custody. And at the conclusion of our investigation, which should be in a couple of hours, they will be ready for prosecution tomorrow morning.
Now, because of this whole situation, some feel that the police should have announced to the public alternative routes to make movement easy for commuters coming into the city, because there was some sort of disruption. So what's your response to that? Well,
thank you very much. We barricaded some parts of the road because of the protest, but we made alternative routes available. So it didn't matter that some commuters did not know that there were barricades in front. The moment they got to that barricade, there were signs there to show that, oh, you could turn left or you could turn right. So there was no disruption whatsoever. People had alternative routes to use. The only disruption came from the protesters, which was promptly attended to.
Now, are there strategic measures being put in place for situations like this in future?
Oh yes, and one of the strategic measures we used in this particular instance was to approach the courts to get an order restricting them from these areas. In future too, we will do everything legally possible to deliver on our mandates of ensuring protection of life and property, maintaining law and order. If it requires getting a court order, then we would. If it requires diverting traffic, then we would. If it also requires, making statements, talking to Nigerians before the D-Day, like we did on Saturday, definitely we would.
Now, what's your message to the public on protests?
Oh, well, we acknowledge that Nigerians have the right to protest, but would also would like to prevail on Nigerians to do or carry out their protests peacefully without infringing on the rights of other Nigerians. Your protest should not stop other Nigerians from enjoying their right to freedom of movement. People could be on their way to the hospital. People could be on their way for important interviews. So protest if you would like to, but please do it within the ambit of the law.
Thank you very much for sharing this insight.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Hundeyin, on the protest this morning and the aftermath.